Alright, so today I'll be drying out some seeds. I've got my dehydrator here. This is just a basic dehydrator. And I've got a couple of squashes here. Yellow squash, straight neck I guess it is. And zucchini that got a little too big for consuming. Now, I think we have a lot of seed left over still from last year, but that we could use for this upcoming year. But not knowing what the food world is going to do, I'd rather have more seeds than we need rather than less. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut open this squash, try not to cut through too many seeds here, and I want to see if the seeds are developed enough to dehydrate. Now, looks like I sliced right through the best of them. Excellent, just what I was trying not to do there. Cut it right in half. But the inside of this I think is broken into thirds, so let's see what we got here. Let's see if another third I can work with here. Okay. Alright, so that's what you're looking for. These could be even more plump. You know, I don't know, these kind of seem a little immature to me. So, let's see if I have another one here. This one was a bit darker off the vine, so I thought it was a little bit too old from the get-go. Too old to eat. So it kind of just sat around. Okay. Let's see what we got. Oh yeah, okay. Now, of course, these seeds look more mature, but I don't know if I want to be growing a bunch of these squashes next year. I'd rather have something a little bigger. I'm going to try with what we got. Okay, so what I'm doing here, I've got a dehydrator. These holes are a little bit small. Sorry, a little bit large for what I'm trying to do here. So I've got two other options. This rack right here, which is a fruit roll-up rack, essentially. You can use it for other things too, but that's what they advertise it being good for. And then I have this one. This is porous, but much smaller holes. And I think today I might have to use both of these. So we'll start with this top layer here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out the seeds here that I want to keep. Spoon would be good to have on hand. All right. Lots of seeds here. Okay, this is great. So I could either go through the process of taking the pulp off here, but I think that's going to be easier to do when the seeds are dried out. If nothing else, it's definitely going to be easier to do later on in the process when they are partially dried. So I'm not going to pick off all that flesh right now. I'll come back for it later. So I'm going to just keep scraping. Okay, now, why save seeds? Well, you never know what the world's going to do, what's going to happen. Last year there were even some places that started being out of stock on seeds. So people were saying, get your seeds early, get your seeds early. We didn't see too many seed shortages ourselves. But it was definitely something we wanted to be aware of. Look at that, that's great. So you're looking a bit more plump, that's good. So like I said, we still have, you know, what we planted this year to grow these squashes you see. We still have those seed packets left over, and there's maybe a dozen or so seeds in them. So usually we just use up what we have from the year before and then buy a little bit more if we need to. Do we eat that many squashes? No, which is why we're composting and harvesting seeds right now. We eat more zucchinis than we do squashes, and we had so much of both. Tried to pawn them off on other people, but eventually people stopped wanting them. So that's how it goes. But again, I'd rather have more than enough. not enough. And we were able to share in that. It's always nice. I'll give these to the chickens. They'll still enjoy them. So worst case scenario, if we can't afford much next year, because these prices keep going up, we'll have plenty of zucchini, plenty of squash, and it'll come down to a matter of being picky. If we starve to death, not having enough food. Just for funsies, let's see what's in here. And then we will move on to discussing the next step. Alright, what do we have? Are these seeds ready to go? They're hiding. Come on guys, you're on camera, let's go. Now these are even more underdeveloped. So, okay. Yeah, it's hard to tell sometimes. Okay, so not very many seeds. Just kind of hoping for more. But you know what? If each goes into a plant, we'll have 150 squash plants. So I guess that's actually a good amount. Do you eat more seeds or squashes than that can grow? Let's see. Real quick. Zucchini should be quick now that we know what we're doing, right? Oh, a smooth cutting knife. Don't cut your hand off of this one. A nice Cutco knife I got a while back. Mom raised us with Cutco, and so going into our own lives, of course I sought out Cutco as soon as I was able to. I'm sure there's better knives out there, but as far as having a system where you can send your knives in and get them sharp free, I appreciate that. Alright, so here's the inside of our zucchini. This seed looks a little immature, I must say. I'm very surprised that a zucchini this large is having trouble with seed maturity. I would have thought these seeds were ready to go. Huh! Would have thought it'd been so seedy, you'd be spitting seeds out like watermelon. Now, let's see what. Yeah, very interesting. Well, worst case scenario, next year, you know, we'll plant a bunch of these seeds and see if they grow, and then if we notice that they are not sprouting, we'll grow the seeds we have from packets. Yeah, so. Better to have tried and failed than to have not tried at all. Alright, that was a good one. Let's see. They're in there, they're just hiding in there. I expected more from you. Let's see. These are very close to the mold spot. I don't want anything to contaminate, but I think when we get to drying them, that will be okay. Alright, so what did you guys grow this year? Anybody watching grow anything exciting this year? I think the most interesting thing we grew this year was habaneros. You might have seen from my other videos. We had our two habanero plants, I think, just take off. We bought some, just a few pepper plants from a local company called The Mill this year. We got a lot of the flowers up at an Amish farm in southern Pennsylvania, but a couple pepper plants we got from a local company, and I think the woman who runs the company, one in our area anyways, she grows a lot of this stuff herself in a greenhouse and garden, I think, if I've understood her Facebook post correctly. So she must have done something right, because we had a lot of trouble with our bell peppers this year, which we got from other places, but our poblanos and our habaneros have been growing like crazy. Big plants, just popping off peppers. So many peppers, more spicy peppers than we know what to do with. So we don't use habaneros at all. Even breathing them in when they're in the dehydrator irritates my throat. But I think we planted them for the experience sake. Not even that. I just don't think we realized how spicy they were. And then they were like, oh well, wait a minute, habaneros, yikes. So that was the most interesting thing we grew. How about you guys? Did you guys grow anything interesting this year? Anybody see any strange declines in their garden growth early on? Our tomatoes seem to grow really well and then plummet. I'm wondering if it was the fertilizer we used or something. Maybe we didn't use enough. Maybe we didn't re-fertilize when we should have. I don't know. But fortunately got a lot of tomatoes. So that was good. Now man does not live off of tomatoes, squash, and zucchini alone, so but I think you could for a period if you had to. Alright. You're probably ready for the next section. Alright. Hold your horses. Let's save these seeds if we can. Hopefully I cut around in there. Awesome. Nicked a couple. We'll be okay. The chickens are gonna love this flesh. I suspect. Aha! There we go. Okay. Just gonna drop all that in there. Alright. Okay. And now, get rid of that because I nicked those. Okay. Now what? Well, now, I'm gonna put the lid on, and you'll see I have a temperature gauge here, and I have this set to about 100, 105. The temperature of a, semi-hot day here. I read online that's a good drying temperature for drying seeds and nuts, and that's not what we're going for here. We're not trying to eat these, but if that's a good temperature for preserving them, what I don't want to do is go too high and cook them, and then they won't ever grow. I'd rather have it be too low and take longer. I'm sure these would dry out on the countertop if I needed them to, and was patient enough and had the right dry environment. They would probably even dry in front of a dehumidifier in my basement. But I don't have a basement right now with a dehumidifier in there. So we're gonna go with the dehydrator, and I think 105 is good temperature because there'll be hotter days naturally from the sun, drying things out than that. And so I'm not worried about going too high there. If anything, I think I might be going too low. So we'll fire this up, get drying, and it'll probably take, if I had taken all the flesh off, it would probably take 24 hours or so. I expect this will easily take 48 hours or so, just because there's so much moisture in all that flesh. But, here's our final product. We'll be drying these out and hopefully putting them away for next year's season, planting season. And as long as these seeds are mature enough, we'll have plenty of squash and plenty of zucchini. No worries. So, thanks for watching and listening today, guys. Drop me a comment. Tell me what you'll be growing next year, and feel free to like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. It helps the channel a lot. So thanks, and God bless. All right, 24 hours later, what we have is, oh, look at that. Nice and dry.